Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! I went to the movies last night to watch Halloween Ends on opening night. I had just gotten off work and was still in my suit. But I said screw it because I was too lazy to go home and change into more casual clothes, and then drive to the movies. I sat down in my seat with my snacks, and during the previews, I saw a toddler come into the theater that didn't look old enough for kindergarten yet accompanied by a kid who looked to be in middle school. And then their mother comes into the theater right behind them. And I saw the mother was holding her third kid, an actual baby who couldn't have been an older than 1 year at best. They sit down in a row of seats directly below me. The way a theater is built has each row of seats consisting of luxury recliners with walls facing them separating them from the next row down. I couldn't actually see this mother and her kids unless I got out of my seat and stood up to look down on the row at them, or unless they were just entering the theater to sit down. At that point, my brain is just screaming, "Are you serious right now? Like, are you really serious with this? You're going to bring a baby and a toddler into a horror movie? Not just any horror movie, mind you, but the horror movie of one of the most terrifying slasher icons, Michael Myers." To say I was already very annoyed at this mother's decision-making was an understatement, because she's not only going to cause her baby and toddler to get seriously scared by bringing them here, but I guess that she also wouldn't be doing anything to calm them down if one or the other started crying or being too loud during the movie. Lo and behold, I was right. Multiple times throughout the first half of the movie, the baby started briefly crying or letting out a single loud bitch cry. It was loud enough that you could obviously hear it interrupt the sounds and dialogue of the movie. I was already mad at the woman for her garbage decision-making and entitled behavior by bringing in children that shouldn't have been there and were all but guaranteed to interrupt the movie for everyone else. But her not doing anything to quiet them down was the final straw. And just to clarify for everyone who may ask, this mother did not get up even once to take her baby outside the theater to calm it down. This baby was consistently loud and disruptive the whole time the family was there. I got out of the seat and walked out of the theater to a couple of employees outside of that particular theater and explained the situation. They said they would contact their manager to come into the theater and get the woman and her kids to leave. I go back into the theater, and before long, 15 or 20 minutes have passed with no sight of the manager or employees in the theater. During that time period, the baby is still loudly whining and crying here and there, once again stopping me from really enjoying the movie. At that point, the movie hadn't reached its bloody, gory climax, but I was going to wait around until then, or afterwards for this to get addressed and risk the chance of that baby and/or toddler to get scared out of their minds and ruin it for me and everyone else. I got up again and went to talk to the employees again. And that's when they finally got their manager to go into the theater and talk to the woman to get her and her kids to leave. I stood off to the side by the giant wall when you enter the theater watching the movie as a manager and an employee talked with the mother. So I never got to see what actually happened or what was said. The mother and her two younglings had already interrupted the movie enough for me, and I wasn't going to miss another second by focusing on them about to get kicked out. A little over 5 minutes later, the employee came back by me and said they are about to leave the theater. I saw the mother carrying her baby followed by her middle school-aged child, and the toddler carrying her sippy cup leaving the movie theater. I and everyone else finally got to watch the rest of the movie in peace, which was about another 40 to 45 minutes, and just so happened to be the best part of the movie. After the movie was over, I found the manager that kicked the mother and her kids out to thank her for fixing the problem. She told me it was no big deal, and that actually legally the mother should have never been allowed to see that movie in the first place. According to the theater's policy, children under 6 old cannot enter R-rated movies after 6 p.m., so the mother shouldn't have been allowed to buy tickets in the first place, considering she had a toddler and a baby with her. However, the employee that sold her the tickets was being trained and didn't know about that policy yet, so he mistakenly sold her the tickets. The manager told me that because of that the mother was entitled to a refund of her movie tickets, which I understood. It didn't matter in the end though, as the toddler and the baby didn't see the goriest and scariest parts of the movie. Nor did the best part of the movie get ruined for me and everyone else in that theater. So to start, I love my dogs. I have two dogs that I frequently take out for walks even during the pandemic. Both are rescues and have gone through way more hard stuff than I did. I decided to take Josephine, the oldest, out for a walk since Millie, the youngest, is fast asleep. We took the route we usually take when we go out for walks. I then noticed that there is a new donut shop that opened. The donuts look nice and delicious, so I decided to grab some. Only thing is, no dogs are allowed to go inside, but the owners were nice to leave a spot outside for dogs. It had a bowl full of water as well. So I put Josephine outside. I was inside for like 5 minutes or something since there were like 3 people already there. I was just browsing through Reddit, then I heard my dog scream. Then I saw this lady smacking my dog with her umbrella at full force numerous times. I quickly rush outside and say, "What are you doing, lady?" I then took away Josephine, but she still tried to smack her. She even hit me in the leg a couple times. I kid you not. These are the exact words that came out of this lady's mouth. "Your dog scratched my car." Her car was across the street, by the way, far away from Josephine. She went on this rant and said that I let my dog wander outside without a leash, and that she had to chain my dog after she scratched her car. I don't know if you've been following the story, but I chained my dog way before this lady started hitting her. I was legitimately confused. I immediately called the cops, and the cops arrived while she was still ranting, and then I had to pay for her car with my insurance. I'm 15 by the way, and I don't know anything about this insurance thing. So the cops intervened and tried to calm the situation down. The lady then decided to play the victim and said that my dog viciously attacked her. My dog did attack her, since she was getting hit with an umbrella by a person she didn't know. The cops pulled her to the side and let her tell her side of the story. I think I heard stuff like my dog scratched her car and attacked her, and that she bravely chained my dog. Cops did the same to me, then pulled me to the side and I got to tell my side of the story. They then asked the shop owner if they could see the cameras outside the shop. While I was tending my dog check-in for any wounds, I saw the cops handcuff the lady after they were done watching the footage and forcefully shoved her in the car because she was resisting arrest. She then threatened to sue me for harassment while screaming profanities. 3 days later, no one sued me, yet. My dog and I are fine, but she was whimpering all throughout the situation. Sadly, she got traumatized. She's still recovering and, for now, doing well. A little update. I was gonna sue her for animal abuse and later found out that she was already in jail for insurance fraud and assault. I don't know about the insurance fraud part, but she apparently tried to push her coworker out of a window. At least that's what I heard. Which isn't assault but attempted murder. Anyway, I didn't continue with the charges because she's serving 5 years in prison now. I would try to sue her and try to extend her sentence, but I don't want to go through a whole process just to make someone's life a lot more miserable. People have lost that last bit of sanity during these troubling times. Okay, so I smoke cigars. Mostly cheap factory rejects, but an occasional good one too. I do not smoke in my house or around other people as I know a very select group of people enjoy that particular aroma. Another point to note here is I drive my youngest to and from school, seeing as the weather in my neck of the woods is bipolar at best. So sitting. Yesterday afternoon I parked way outside the school zone in a line to pick up kids, probably a block away in a residential neighborhood. I drive a big truck with a loud exhaust system. The players are me, Karen, and the school principal. I'm in a line of vehicles, engine off, listening to a good book on Audible, smoking the last bit of a good cigar. For those who don't know, a cigar can be sit down and refreshed if need be. Also, I never smoke on school grounds and always have it out before my kid gets in the truck. It's my truck and no one else drives it. So I don't mind the smell of tobacco and I have a bottle of Febreze that I use every couple of days. Anyway, about 5 minutes later I see a woman get out of her car and begin to approach me. I watched her walk up past the two vehicles behind me and heading my way. She's got a typical Karen look, hair, clothes, way too much makeup, and the like. She comes up right on my window and just stands there looking at me. I rolled my window down all the way and asked her if she needed anything. And the dialogue was as follows.
What do you think you're doing?
Excuse me?
You're smoking the pot.
Yes, she called it the pot.
On school grounds. You should be ashamed of yourself.
What are you talking about?
I can see it in your hand and smell it.
Well, obviously you can't smell it because this is a cigar.
I don't think so. I am calling the police.
Knock yourself out, you weirdo. After her brain short circuits from being talked to like that, she tried to open my door, which was locked. Then she reached in my window and tried to grab the cigar out of my mouth. Now life has taught us all from a young very age that fire is hot, and things that burn from fire are also hot. But physics never seemed to be on the forefront of these jerks. So she immediately burned her hand on the cigar and jumped back screaming that I did that on purpose. I started laughing because it was funny. She then tried the door again and I obliged by opening it as hard as I could, which knocked her back onto her back, which made me laugh even more.
You jerk! I'm going to report you for assault. I'm going to get you and your kid kicked out of here.
Yeah, whatever, Karen. Go back to your car before you have a heart attack. She walked back to her car all the while yelling obscenities. I made sure to keep an eye on her in my rear view until we got closer to the school. Now the school principal is always outside directing traffic between the parents and school buses. He and I know each other, because being in a northern state, but being fans of the U of Miami is not something you see a lot up here. So we've talked about football and other stuff about the school, so he knows me a little and my truck is unique in size, color and exhaust. As I'm waiting to pull up to the place where you pick up your kid, I see Karen park, get out, and head directly towards the principal. She made sure to walk by me and give me dirty looks, like I guess that was supposed to intimidate me or something. Spoiler alert, it didn't. She gave the principal an earful. Couldn't quite hear what she said, but made sure to be as dramatic as possible, probably telling him I'm a drug addict and a monster and all that. Principal is doing his best to direct traffic and put up with her nonsense. And I assume said something to placate her because she walked away all smug and again made sure to walk by me so I could see her big grin. I smiled back and waved at her sassily. I pulled up and my kid got in, and as I figured he would, the principal came over to me. Did you really put a plant of pot out on her hand and slam your door into her head? He asked me. That's so stupid, I don't even know where to start. First, she reached into my vehicle and tried to get the cigar out of my mouth, and she burned her own hand like the dummy she is. Second, she tried to open my door not once, but twice, so I obliged her the second time. Third, if I opened the door as hard as I could into her head, she'd be knocked out on the road. If she got bruised along with her ego, that's just tough crap, I guess. The principal sighs volubly and says, "That's about what I thought happened. Just do me a favor and don't retaliate, okay? I don't need another headache. No worries from me, man. Just here to pick up the kid. Go Canes." My kid put up the U symbol as we drove away and that's it. I'll be picking up the kid later today again. So hopefully there is no repeat of that nonsense. Karen will be so thrilled to know that I didn't get the outcome she thought I would after telling the principal. At least she got what she deserves and had her hands burned and her butt fall into the floor. I mean, that's what happens when you don't mind your own business. When my father moved from Ohio to Sacramento in the 1950s, he initially had 6 roommates, 2 per room, so they could keep things as affordable as possible. In the fall, the residents would rake their leaves into large piles in the gutter/side of the street. The city would send out vacuum trucks and collect the leaves on specific prearranged days. While some kids thought it was great fun to drive their car through the big piles of leaves and scatter them everywhere. My father and his roommates would then have to scramble to take everything back into a pile or the city would not vacuum up the unorganized leaves. After about 3 weeks of this, one of his roommates who worked graveyard shift as a mechanic at the municipal bus yard was tired of screwing around with the leaves after a long night of work. Without telling the other roommates, when he left for work, he dropped an engine plug off his truck and covered it in a big pile of leaves. At around 2 a.m. there was a horrific crash that woke up all the neighbors. Fortunately, the kids in the car were not beat up too badly, since the car was not only going about 15 miles per hour upon impact. It turns out the kid who was driving was the son of a police officer. When the cops contacted his father, he asked if his son was injured. When he was told he was fine, his father told the cops to let him walk home, and not under any circumstances were they to give any of the kids a ride home. That must have been a long, cold walk. In the morning, when the roommate returned from his shift, he came into the house and said something like, "You never know what you're going to catch when you go fishing." I interpreted this story as a warning that screwing with people might be funny the first few times. More than 2 times, the same joke is no longer funny. For context, I'm a 17-year-old male, working for my local McDonald's in the Midwestern USA. And this happened last night. We have a regular, the Karen in the story, who always comes through our drive-thru and orders 2 large iced teas and a large Colombian coffee. In case you aren't familiar, some McDonald's stores sell a Colombian brew coffee which has a much stronger flavor, way more of a kick to it. Just as bitter as a Karen's soul. How fitting. Whenever there is an order for 3 or more drinks, we assume that they will want a drink tray, because it makes things work better and quicker for us. However, Karen does not want a drink tray. In fact, you'd think she's allergic to them. If you try to give her one, she snaps at you and tries to boss you around. My coworker, who I will call Jemima, didn't know about her aversion to drink trays because she normally works different shifts and had never dealt with her before. She handed her drinks out on a tray, and Karen took the drink tray and threw it at her, pre-speed it right back into the window. Jemima was shaken, naturally, and told the manager what happened. Last night, Karen came through the drive-thru again, and this time Jemima was at the first window, where you pay for your food. She got a manager, and not just any manager, our general manager, who is the highest person on the ladder in our store. The next level is a regional manager who takes care of the 8 stores owned by our franchise. He happened to be right there, and he knew what happened. He sold Karen her coffees, but only after making it clear that she was not allowed to come back after what she did. If she comes back, not only will we ban her from all 8 stores, all the McDonald's stores in our area are owned by the same family, so she will almost certainly have to drive at least 40 minutes or something to get to a McDonald's she's allowed to go to. But we will also call the cops on her for trespassing. She got to my window and said, "I don't want a drink tray." And I just said, "I know that," as sassily as my thoroughly not sassy personality would allow. Update. She came back today. The official policy about what to do about her hadn't gotten around to all of the managers yet, but one of the managers there tonight sent the GM a message letting him know she came by. Hopefully by the next time she comes back, everybody knows about it, and we can call the authorities on a Karen. Thank you for watching and see you next time.